Hi, this is Angela from Twisted Art. So today is going to be a little challenge to draw and paint a lovely little bird. So I'm going to show you step by step how to achieve this. So you're going to need a pencil and any kind of paper that you have at home that you can use. The first thing we're going to do is that we're going to make sure that you have enough space. So you want to kind of plan your drawing. So I know that my bird is going to be just about here, and it's going to sort of perch on a little branch over here. So first thing to do is we're going to draw a sort of a round oblongish circle. Okay, just don't make it perfect, just a little bit oblong. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do the second one, but slightly bigger one, bigger circle, sort of goes like that. Okay, and we want to make this a bit similar sort of shape as well. So just using a light pencil, can be any kind of pencil. Now where this bit meets, you want to, where both circles meet, you just want to draw a line across and then a little triangle that meets like that. Okay, a bit longer. And then you want to use, this is your line, and draw a line across all the way to the down, all down, and that's going to help us do the feathers of the bird. And once you've done that, now draw a line across here that kind of comes down like this, and then we're going to do the branch, which is going to come all the way here, and then let's say it comes, this goes off like that. And maybe a tiny bit sticks out. Okay, so just making sure that you can see all the bird. Okay, so you see you got this little bit that just sticks out and then it comes down all the way like this. So don't have to worry so much about the branch for the moment, so let's concentrate on the bird. So what we're going to do here now is we're going to just go around the circles and the foundation of the bird. So you've got this, just draw a line that goes like this, just follow the curves. You can see a little bit of that branch here, and then we're going to do the head of this bird. Just follow that line. Just a little curve at the bottom. Okay, so here we're going to then use this guideline to do a little curve to give you the back feathers. Let it go down, and then it's going to go, there's going to be more fluffy feathers here, and that's going to be, this is a puffed up bird, so it's a bit fluffier than normal. Now you can make that head a bit smaller if you want as well. So let's do this, and then here we're going to have a nice slanted sort of eyes. Okay, and then you're going to have the eyes in there, a bit sharp. Then you're going to have the beak's going to be inside like this. Going to be a bit longer. Okay, so a nice cute little bird like that. So what we're going to do now is we're just going to, you decide on your color. So if you're going to go for a lighter color like white or yellow, then I would say use a lighter pencil to draw the bird. Otherwise you're going to find that it's going to look a bit dirty. So what I'm going to do now is actually I'm just going to paint the background. So I kind of want I do want a lighter background. So I'm going to take a bit of yellow, a little bit yellow. So I'm imagining this bird is in a tree somewhere, and it's just perched on this branch, and I've just got some blue and yellow, and I'm going to make a sort of light, so it's green, nice green color. Okay, but I want it quite that's fairly light. Okay, fairly light. And so we're just going to go ahead around this bird. Now that helps me clean up any lines, anything that I don't want to be seen. I'm doing it, I'm just dabbing the colors in, and it's fairly thick, so it doesn't, so it won't show a lot of that line. Also to give us that idea that it's perhaps a branch in a tree with lots of leaves, and it's just, we don't want to go into the details, but we just know it's very green where it is, where this little fella is perched. Now don't worry too much if you kind of eat into the lines that you've created, because the green is just going to give us the background, and then you can go over and clean up any mistakes. So don't worry too much, but I'm dabbing it in a way that it just gives you that very nice sort of abstracty background. And I'm adding more yellow to the color as well, so that it has a bit of light and shade, unintentional lines, patterns. So as you dab, you have a tiny bit of yellow here and there, a bit of darkness, a darker green if you want. Just add a bit more blue and you got a bit of darker green, for example, and you just want to dab, 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 dab all around. Okay, all around. Gives you a nice, if I pick up more yellow, so you see it's going to blend nicely. Gives you a very nice, lovely background. See, you can achieve very watercolor textures and patterns even with acrylics. It's just a matter of just applying, it's just techniques. So if you wanted, you can add more water to this, and that would give you more of a lighter wash. So you see I've got, so don't want the background. I mean, if you want to use a canvas and you want the whole thing to be just full of this picture, then go ahead and do this green all over so that you have a full canvas. Also, if you don't want to, then I would suggest painting the canvas in a base color. It's just like you would paint a wall, because you would want to have something that sort of protects the wall, wouldn't you? So the paper, or sorry, the canvas, for example, I always suggest covering the entire canvas with some paint or the other, because if you have blank spaces, what happens is that they are when they're exposed, and they're exposed to dust, exposed to discoloration, and and you can't do much about it because it's not protected. So it's important for to always give it a little bit of paint, or just as a wash, even if you're not painting the whole canvas. Now just going a bit, being a bit, trying to do something different here. So I'm just using a bit more yellow in my paint and just lightening it up a little, just over here. Now I know the light comes from over there, so this bit's going to be very very light, and then going back here with a bit more green. Again, just not being too overly concerned about blending it too much, because as I said, I do want to have a sort of abstracty kind of feel to it. Don't want too much details. I'm just going to wet my brush a bit, and that's going to allow me to just spread this out a bit. See how it can look very watercolory if you add a little bit of water. Now I know that this bit's going to be quite light, so I'm just going to go a lot of put a lot of yellow with a touch of green in it, because obviously I've got a lot of green in my on my brush, so I'm not overly concerned about it. So then it, whatever that's in my brush, I'm just putting it into, blending it now into the green, sorry, into the yellow. Just letting it go. Essentially, I just want to give it more light over here. Now, just to make sure that we blend this in a little bit more, because that bit obviously is quite dark. So I'm just going to go back, wash my brush out, because I've got quite a bit of green over there. So I just want to bring this green into the yellow, so it doesn't look very blockish. Okay, and then I'm just going to add a bit more green over here. All right, there you go. So we've got the lovely background now, so that's beautiful. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to now think about what the feathers are going to look like. I initially planned on doing using yellow in the body, but it seems that I changed my mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to use some red. Now, as I said, you can choose to use whatever color that you would like. Sorry, my paint is making all sorts of funny noises. Okay, that's all I need. So let me just go into make sure that I'm in focus. Okay, so I'm gonna make this bit, the body, quite red. This bit of the body red. I was at a bird park recently in Farnham, and it was just amazing, the colors and of the birds and the variety. I mean, it's just stunning when you think about how amazing Mother Nature is, because you when you look at all the colors and you look at all the types of birds and animals out there. I mean, oh my goodness, it was just amazing. They even had hornbills there. So I'm applying the red quite thick because you know, because I used a very thick strong pencil, so obviously that's gonna be difficult to get rid of. So I'm just making sure that I'm putting enough layers there. Now what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to give the just around the eye a little bit of red. Okay, just around the eye, just a bit of red, just a bit of red there, just to make it quite different. Okay, and so I'm going to let that rest for a minute and wash out my brush. Now I'm thinking about the tail, and I think I'd like and the back. So I'd like to do I'd like to give it a blue blue back. So very carefully, when you come to that edge, just carefully move. Now this is where you can shape your bird's head, so you can slowly start moving the brush. Okay, and then we go around. I'm going to show you something very cool afterwards, but we're just doing the base of the bird's body. So it's important to put to build layers and just to do the foundation first before you go in and try to do details, because if you try to do things all at the same time, then you're going to find that it's the colors, if they're not dry, then they're just going to go they're going to blend into the other color that you're trying to introduce, and it won't work very well. And also sometimes the colors need to dry if for another color, for example, to really stand out. If it's not dry, then it's just going to go and be wasted. So I'm just pulling out the feather, okay, and then letting it slide back into the body a bit like that. So give it one long feather, okay, tail feather, and then I'm going to give it another one. There you go. Already you can see the bird really appearing now, not just two circles on a paper. Okay, beautiful. So now we're going to concentrate on doing the branch, right? So for that, we're going to have use burnt umber, okay, and you can, if you don't have brown with you, then just Google how, I can put the links down, but you just need to just Google how to mix brown. All right, so we're gonna do the branch, and we're gonna put the first layer down here again, very carefully. You can literally use any brush, but just make sure that it's the right size, because you know, if for example, if you try to use a brush like this, I mean, you can very carefully just using the tips, and you can do it. So but you know, it's best to use a brush that can give you, that you can control, because if you can't control, then it becomes too um, you know, it just goes all starts bleeding into the other areas of your painting, then you're going to have difficulty in bringing it all together. Okay, just, and if you find that the paint feels a bit starts to, you know, it's the flow is quite sluggish, then just add a little bit of water. Just add a little bit of water to your paint. Never dip your brush into the water and then come straight onto your painting, because then you can't control the, you know, if there's too much water, then it's just gonna bleed out. So always put wet your brush, put it into your paint, test it on the sides of the palette. Then if you can shake off excess water by tapping it onto a kitchen towel or paper. Okay, so you see, even just by just having some dark, you know, some thinned up paint, and with some darker a darker paint, I've really been able to make that texture of the branch come out well. I'm just going to put a little bit more detail there, just dragging out tiny bit. Okay, that's it. Now here's the bit where we want to do the beak. And now I know that this is such a small space and it's going to be difficult for me to get around it without messing it up. So I'm going to use a smaller detail brush. Okay, smaller detail brush that is going to give me more control. All right, now I want to use I want to add a bit of yellow to my brown, just to lighten it up a little bit. I'm going to lighten it up a little bit. So this is the brown that I like to use, just a bit more yellow. Okay, so it's not too dark but strong enough to help cover my pencil marks. As I said, it's best to use a lighter pencil so it doesn't stain. Let's pull it out. Pull it out like that. Okay. Just going back with a bit more yellow in my brown. Perfect. Now I would like this to go further in, so I'm just pushing it back in, because as we know, the beak is part of, you know, you will see more of the beak. And what I'm also going to do is I want to do the inside of the eye as well. So I'm going to now but I want it to be a sort of lighter than it is. The bird's eyes are quite dark actually, but I don't, because this is going to be black, so I'm just going to go and cover it all up. With a sort of with more yellow mixed in. That's a bit watery, so that's going to take some time to dry. That wasn't very wise. Okay, and it kind of, they always have, and I'm going to now I'm going back into my brown, and I want to bring that, I want the beak to really flow into that blue. What I'm doing is I'm just dragging, making little lines and dragging that brown into the blue, so it really merges and blends properly. Okay, so it looks part of the bird rather than just sticking out. Now I want to do a little line that shows us where the beak meets. Just a little line there. Okay, I might add a bit of blue into my, I can get some black, but I just like to use the colors that I have anyway. Just gonna go in. Okay, that's it. So now you can see the beak and you can see the line. And while I have that, I'm just gonna go and create another little line inside the eye, and it sort of points to the beak. All right, just continuing with the creating this lovely little baby feathers that are just coming out. And let those lines just move into the body of the bird. I don't know what kind of bird this is really. It's just an imagined bird. So I'm just moving the brush around. You can see that it's puffed up. A few more strong lines of white. And he's probably going to have a bit of light coming into his feathers here as well. So we're just going to create that second layer of feathers. A few around the breast. Just really light lines, especially if your colors are already a bit still tiny bit wet, then it's just gonna give you a really nice, it's gonna blend in really well. So just a few more bright spots now here and there, and then let it blend and move the brush in a way where you think about the direction of, you know, the feathers come, you know, giving it a nice rounded feeling. So you don't want it to just be that bird on a, you know, a round blob of bird. So you want to create a nice roundness. So as you go closer to the beak, you're going to find you always have tiny bits of feathers around. So just give him a little bit more. So these little lines that are going through are going to give him more of that you know, feathery feel. So by giving it a little bit of it's sort of red background, you're giving it a nice foundation to work the feathers, to create the impression of feathers. Now, so coming towards his closer to the beak, I'm creating lines that are going to be flowing from the top to the bottom. So nice, lovely lines. So here you can really see, it's almost like it's, you can see how the direction of the feathers work very well. Okay, and I'm going to continue, and you know, these feathers, they're not going to just sit where they are, they're going to flow out a little bit. So we're going to go let those feathers just, it's a pretty little thing. So now what we're going to do is we want to give a little bit of shade, just a little bit of shade to this bird's wings. So we're going to add a bit of white to your blue, to the blue that we used earlier. Just a bit of white. And we're going to give this bit here just a few strokes and just a tiny bit here. All right, that's going to help us bring in the light. And then also here we just want to give a bit of lightness to the head there, because he gets a bit of that sun. And that's it. Wash out your brush. Now the other thing to do is we want to make the beak stand out a bit. So we're going to now use a bit of yellow and a bit of white to so we want quite light yellow, and we just want to add over here just a bit on the sides of the beak. Okay, and the last thing to do is we want a bit of black that we're going to use with a detail brush. So you only want it really at the tip, and you want to do the eyes, just a nice little round. Make sure it stays inside the circle. Now I prefer to wait until the black is dry, but for this video I'm just going to very quickly do it for you. So you want to dip your brush again into a bit of white, okay, without any water, and you want to just go in the middle, just a tiny little drop, and there you have it. You've got a little bird set. It should do the feet, but I feel that he's actually you know, so puffed up you can't really see his feet. Okay, and if you want, you can add a little bit of white to the branch as well, to just highlight the, you know, to give it more highlight here and there, but not too much. That's it, folks. So this is the challenge, to create a little bird without using a template or anything. So post in comments, post your pictures, post it in the group. I want to see how you get on with this. All right, have a lovely weekend.